So I'd like to ask you, how can literacy contribute to sustain or enhance the identity of Muslim communities in Western societies?
In Eastern societies. Okay, so I think that literacy and the ability to read, and it's not just literacy, I would say it's the ability to read critically also, to question what you are reading, as well as to historicize what you read and contextualize what you read. I think that's the key, that's actually the key I suppose, element of literacy, I would put it. So I think that what that really does is to allow Muslims to live a life that is simultaneously critical, simultaneously secular, while allowing for the rich inner life, okay, that religion and faith often allow people to have. And I think that once you have those things in order, you can engage with civil society, you can engage with the personal and the familial. The familial unit, of course, is an important one. And so you can be a kind of a dynamic part of a society where you can move through different roles on a daily basis.
So I'd like to ask another question. Can Muslim communities, both men and women, can be feminist?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I mean, you again. This is important. Okay, feminism, and let me backtrack. Okay, so feminism, of course, when we think about the word critically, it is a word that has come out of Western liberation movements. Okay, so but at the same time, what it denotes is something very important, right? Which is equal rights for men and women. Okay, and by equal rights, equal rights are equal. They begin, I think, they personally begin with economic freedom for women. Okay, that many women or some women have up till they get married. This economic freedom actually disappears after a woman has children. She's expected to stay home, or she's expected to sacrifice her career or take a second order career to her husband, etc. So I think that the first issue that feminism and Western feminism rightly actually approaches is that of economic inequality. Legal inequality in Muslim countries is a huge issue. Women are legally, I don't know, I'm not 100% sure about Bangladesh, but in Pakistan, women are really a lower legal entity, not just actually in the constitution or in Islamic law. And really, Islamic law, the way it's been interpreted by the modern state, has really reduced women to nothing more than children. And I'm happy to say this here. But I think that those are so legally a woman is a second order entity. And then she's and I've lost my train of thought here a little bit, but so economically she's a second order, legally she's a second order, and then of course socially she's also a second order. Okay, so what feminism really does, and the idea of feminism, the idea of equal rights, what that really does is to say this person is entitled to everything that the male is entitled to. I'm a mother myself, so biologically, I understand, right? I understand how a woman, especially upon becoming a mother, really has to take a back seat in many ways. But again, that's the way society is organized, and I think Western society is also pitted against women even today. And I think that's something. So that's again where the word feminism becomes important, not just for the West, but again for societies here. Women should be enabled, and so enough social changes have to take place, and societies have to reorganize in a way that women can be equally participating members, while also sure enough fulfilling what people call traditional roles of motherhood, perhaps. But while fulfilling those as well. Okay, so I think feminism is an important word. Is it the only word? I don't know. Do we need another word for it in our languages? Yes. Do we need to complicate ideas of feminism with the many roles that women often have to biologically embrace, yes. But again, as a core concept, I'm behind it.